Regular school board meeting of the Madison Central School District on Monday, February 12th, 2024 at 5:30 p.m. Mr. Brooks can record the members present or absent, and we do have a quorum tonight. Let's go ahead and rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, the next agenda item is to approve our agenda with one addition, and that would be under number 9 to hire Lily Wolf as the playground supervisor at $13 an hour.
So moved.
Okay, Rob, second?
Second.
Second by Rich. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item is approval of the consent agenda, items 7 through 9. And if we need to pull one of those out, we can for discussion. Otherwise, I would take a motion.
So moved. Second.
Jordan and Rich. All those in favor for the motion on the floor, please vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay. Next agenda item is hearing of delegations. I don't see anybody. So we'll go on to number 11, Administrator's Report. Mr. Jorgensen.
I'll just give a little bit of a recap on the legislative session that's going on right now. Bills that we're monitoring, early in the year we talked about the ACT. That's been pulled. That's just going to be handled by the Department of Ed. They're moving in that direction, so it won't be legislatively. It'll be just go through the Department of Ed. The suicide training, the certification, certification accreditation, or it'll get moved to the accreditation process now that we'll be checking it versus the certification of it. Peer doing it. That's already been signed. That was defeated today. 11-8. Welding or can do whatever, they can get a 1-year permit. All that does is it allows someone to be in there for a year, and then the board still has to open up and advertise for that position the following year. If they again can't get it, then they have the opportunity to ask for the permit again. And it's up to the local board then to decide whether to accept that person in that position or not for that year. So it's geared towards the CTE classes, obviously carpentry and welding and those type of things. Because there is an alternative way of getting the CTE certification. This is just if you've advertised, you can't get anybody, you've got someone that's been in the industry for a long time, they're willing to help, but they have no intention of doing this long term. They'll help you out until you can find someone certified to do it. Otherwise, it's going to be offered for that year in those schools. And that passed through the House at 14-0, passed through the House floor 67-0. I think it's on its way to, I'd be shocked if it doesn't pass like that in the Senate side as well. Library book policy, House Bill 1197. that's moving forward, and it's basically things we have in place already as far as we have a policy in place for our library books, and it's accessible. So it really isn't a big change for the vast majority of schools, I would think. Maybe there's some out there that don't have it in place, but we have for years. House Bill 1201 is one that I hope gets some legs. Right now it's been sent to appropriation. That's funds to continue the apprentice program, which we currently have in place here. That's with the paras that can become certified teachers in a 2-year frame, and DSU and Northern are two of the colleges that are doing that right now. The reduced tuition to add counselors, we already have that the teachers can get this reduced tuition. Senate Bill 1, this would be to add counselors to that as well, and that's moving forward. I think that will go through just fine. Senate Bill 34, school safety, the SRO Sentinel bill. Sentinels in every building, that was sent to the 41st day. It was just logistically and financially wasn't really an option. We talked about Senate Bill 72, that was to increase the tax credits insurance companies could have. That's now at House Appropriations. It's basically a voucher. Then I'll come back to House Bill 1048. That's the changing the target teacher salary. Basically, House Bill 1048 and I believe it was 1137 sort of morphed together. The one had a minimum starting salary of $48,000. That was one of the bills. The other one had it set. Everybody had a different starting or average teacher pay they had to be at, which didn't make sense. So some that could have had 6,000 or 7,000 higher teacher average pay didn't meet accountability. Those that were that far behind did reach accountability. It didn't make a lot of sense. They morphed into one bill now, 1048. It's been amended a couple times. 1048D came through on Friday. Wasn't a good bill at all. It just had a lot of issues with it. Now it's 1048E. It's been slid to Wednesday to hear it again. It would set the minimum base salary for the following year at $45,000 for a minimum base. And to give you an idea, we're at $50,100 is where we're at. We're well above it. But the catching point in this bill right now is that whatever the percentage goes up from the state gives you 4%, 3%, whatever it may be, your average compensation is going to move up that much as well. But sounds great, but it's not. Sounds great, but financially doesn't work out that way, I guess is the easiest way to say it. And the biggest factor in all this is enrollments.
Right.
If you're declining enrollment, I think we figured out for every 5 kids, we drop down 0.5% in funding if we lose 5 kids at a time. So this bill will get amended a number of times. Wednesday will be heard again. I don't know if they'll act on it or not Wednesday. If they do, they may act on just to pass it and keep it moving forward in the process. But it's got a long ways to go to get to where it needs to be to make sense for schools, I guess is the easiest way to say it. There's a lot of confusion today. Some of the testimonies said one thing, and some of the testimonies said something else. So they have to have clarification. We know which way it is, but it was reported 2 different ways from the sponsors that brought it forward. So that's one we'll watch very close close moving forward as 1048 to see how it would affect us and all schools with the accountability. We all want to increase teacher pay. That's not the issue, and I think we've done a great job of doing that. But this would be a huge hurdle right now in its current form for a number of schools.
So additionally, when the state gives a 4% increase, that also has to cover our utility bills, our administration, correct?
4% goes into the funding formula,
Yeah,
and then from there it gets pieced
Dispersed
out
out.
by different things.
right.
Yeah.
So,
But like I say, in order for you to get the true 4%, you have to have your enrollment stay the same.
right,
If your enrollment didn't stay the same, if it went down, you're not getting 4%. If it went up, you may get just a little more than 4%.
right.
And there's way more schools right now that are declining than are going forward, that are increasing, excuse me. So we'll watch it. Like I say, the legislative body is very well aware of the concerns right now. I think there'll be a lot of work done trying to make it a workable solution when it's all said and done, but it's got a ways to go. But it's one that we'll be watching very closely. Other than that, we've got some upcoming dates, this Friday and the 16th and Monday the 19th. Presently, we don't have school on Friday or Monday. We'll have a reminder of that. We'll go out. I think we have it scheduled for Wednesday to remind folks that there's no school on Friday and Monday. With that, I don't know if there's any other questions on the legislative session right now, but that's where it's at.
You mentioned the one-year teacher permit. Can you remind us what the rules are for the emergency certification and any teachers in the school district that have an emergency certification currently?
Well, if
And how do they renew it?
If they want to get the emergency or the alternate certification right now, they have to have had a college degree. And then they have 2 years, actually 3, they can renew it. They can get the initial one and they can renew it 2 more times. But during that time, they have to pick up, depending on what their undergrad degree was in, probably 16 credits of different things, depending on which area they're in. And then, of course, history of Native Americans is one of them, humanities is another one that's required of all teachers. The permit for the CTE, right now, you can get CTE certified if you have 4,000 hours. 4,000 hours of work experience. And then there's some other classes stuff you'd have to get, so 2 years basically. The CTE permit changes it to 2,000 hours, basically a year's worth of. And again, it doesn't certify them from the fact of, in the bill, there is the word at the end, certification, only because they can be paid, but it's a permit. It's just giving them 1 year. It's not automatically renewed. They have to go out and look for a certified person to fill that position. It's just in the CTE.
And then after two times renewing, it can't be renewed again?
Not until they've completed the coursework. So basically, they're given 3 years, because they can have the first year, they can renew 2 more times, they're given 3 years in to pick up those credits. Yeah. That's for the alt cert, if I have it correct. I believe so. And then the para apprenticeship one, they're basically trying to get 2 years worth of, most everyone that's in that this year has started with 2 years of college credits already. So they're trying to get the last 2 years knocked out.
I'm assuming it won't go anywhere, but that's Senate Bill 103. Have you heard much on? That's the firearm one.
You're gonna have to fill me in on
Oh, they're changing to allow anyone who's over 21 and has a enhanced concealed carry can carry within schools, churches, government.
that. You've seen that before in the past. I haven't looked into it. I haven't heard much about it, so
Well, I don't think anything's really happened. It's just been introduced. But
yeah. We've had something similar to that a number of years back. I think it was even Doc Greenfield that brought it up, if I'm not mistaken.
That's this one.
Yeah, I'll look into it, but I don't know if that's.
Senator Hoffman.
And there is still the ability for school personnel, if they go through some sort of training.
Sentinel program is still out
Sentinel
there.
program.
Yeah. That was put in probably 10 years ago now, maybe. And I believe there's maybe, last I heard, there's maybe 3 schools maybe that are part of that program, maybe. Don't quote me on that. I think it's not many, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Okay. Anything else?
We meet on Monday for ASBSD out in Pier on the 19th or whatever it is.
Yeah, and on the permit, ASBSD testified in favor of the CTE permit. SDA did, almost everybody did. Everybody but DOE, I think that, but it's still passed 14 on.
I will say I have been pretty impressed with the bills that I've reached out to the House anyway, and to some committees, and the number of state reps that have responded back, either yay or nay, or, there's been a few that are an automatic response of, I get a lot of emails, and so I may not respond to you, but there's been, I've been surprised actually how many conversations I've had with that, so that's encouraging.
Yep,
I think there's
very
a
much
strong
so.
support for public education right now in our state, so
Very much so.
it's good. Okay, Mitch, did you have anything? Okay. Just one question for you, Mitch. I had emailed you about the health insurance.
Yeah.
Can you maybe share what?
An update on that?
Yeah,
We've started off, our plan year starts October 1st each year. We've had 4 or 3 difficult months, just to kind of say. Typically we do start, we have what's called I just like that. We have $60,000 per plan reinsurance. So we cover the first 60, and after that, the reinsurance covers. So at the beginning of a plan year, if there's expensive procedures and such, we cover a lot of those first amounts until they hit that amount. But this year we start off a little more expensive than most years. So hopefully the next few months we can regain some back. If we don't, if it continues on this trend, there'll be some quite large changes probably need to be made. Hopefully we're just crying that the sky is falling. Hopefully it'll kind of follow normal year's trends on that. But it is something to watch because as self-insured, us and our staff are responsible to make sure it balances out.
thank you.
Yeah.
All right, number 12, present board members with the ASBSD appreciation certificates.
Yes, I have from the Dr. Ormadahl, in recognition of dedicated leadership in public education and for improving achievement for all public school students. Associate School Boards of South Dakota honors the Madison Central School District. South Dakota School Board Recognition Week is February 19th to 23rd. Luann Krogman, ASBSD President. So I'd like to hand these out to you. Thank you for your service on behalf of ASBSD.
Well, thank you very much. These are different this year.
Rhonda sort of kept them up evidently.
Yeah,
Before we
they're
saw the-
spicy. I like them.
Before we saw the template that came with it, so she already had these made up, so we look at them.
I like it. Very nice, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next item on the agenda is to consider approval of the 24-25 school start date and district calendar.
So the calendar is pretty much a clone. One difference is the activities actually roll back, but that isn't really reflected on here from the Activity Association. The one change, this year when we came back, our first day was in-service day, and then we went after Christmas, then we went into, and staff after looking at the draft calendar. Really like that, so then we made that change, so January 2nd, when we come back, it'll just be staff in service. And then the 3rd, we'll start with kids. And then the other change from the calendar that I was looking at earlier, we had a early dismissal then in February 5th. Well, we've got in service on January 2nd and the 13th. We just thought that was too close together, so we slid that one into March. We slid it back a month, so they weren't just all one on top of each other. Spring break and all that slid back a week just because of how the calendar changed and the activities that are out there. Other than that, like I say, it's really a clone to the last number of years, and again, after staff input and stuff, I just think this is where we're at with it, and I would ask for approval.
Okay. All right, all those in favor of the approval of the 24-25 school year start date and district calendar? There we go, George. I
I'll
just
second.
love you guys, are awesome. Any discussion on that? Jeez. Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion on the floor, please vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item is to adjourn our meeting. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, please vote by saying aye.
Aye.
There we go. Motion carries.